In 2007, the legendary filmmaker Werner Herzog released a documentary that gave us a profound look at the continent of Antarctica. It was called Encounters at the End of the World. Towards the end of that film, Herzog and his crew captured a haunting and unforgettable scene, a single Adelie penguin, breaking away from its colony and the path to the sea, marching purposefully towards a distant mountain range, a journey of certain death. The moment was powerful, and for years, it has stood as a symbol of a deranged, or disoriented, penguin, a heartbreaking mystery on the ice. And what a mystery to be left with. It speaks to the power of Antarctica itself, a continent that has always held a unique grip on the human imagination. It is the coldest, driest, and highest continent on Earth, a true polar desert where life clings to the very margins. Its ice sheet is over 4 kilometers thick in places, a frozen archive of our planet's climate history stretching back nearly 1 million years. This extreme nature is precisely what has always drawn us in. For centuries, the North and South Poles were the last blank spaces on the map, the ultimate tests of human endurance and curiosity. They became the stage for a relentless drive to explore, a passion that pushed figures like Amundsen, Scott, and Shackleton to risk everything for a chance to stand at the bottom of the world. This drive isn't just historical, it's deeply human. It's the same impulse that makes us look up at the stars. We see a vast, unknown, and seemingly hostile environment, and our first instinct is not to turn away, but to ask why and how. We want to understand it. And in that quest for understanding, we often find the most unexpected stories. Herzog's Penguin is one of those stories, a mystery that perfectly captures the alien, yet deeply resonant, nature of this continent. To understand one of the most famous penguin stories ever told, we must first understand the sheer scale of its setting. We are going to the end of the world to see what really happened to the penguin in 1981. I'm a geoscientific researcher. For as long as I can remember, Antarctica has been more than just a place on a map to me. It's a land of mystery, of resilience, of untold stories locked in ice. I've spent years poring over its maps, studying its geology, and even applied to the Royal Geographical Society, hoping to one day set foot on its shores as a researcher. While that opportunity hasn't come yet, my passion for this continent has never faded. So, when I revisited Herzog's famous scene, I knew I had to look closer, beyond the philosophical questions, and through the practical lens of science. Now, look at this. The primary gateway for researchers and supplies to McMurdo Station, Antarctica, is from Wellington, New Zealand. As you can see on this Great Circle route, it is the most direct, shortest path over the Southern Ocean, a journey of approximately 4,000 kilometers. Why here? Why not from South America or Africa? It's a matter of geography and history. The Antarctic continent is vast, and different nations access it from the points closest to them. The British and South American programs are centered on the Antarctic Peninsula, which unfurls towards the Falkland Islands and Tierra del Fuego. South Africa provides a gateway to the Dronning Maud land sector. But for the Ross Sea, where our story is set, New Zealand is the undeniable logistical hub. It's a legacy carved out by the great explorers of the heroic age, like Scott and Shackleton, who used this very corridor to launch their historic expeditions. So, this 4,000-kilometer lifeline isn't just a line on a map. It's a path of history, a channel of science. And now, as we zoom in, we arrive at the heart of our story, McMurdo Sound. This entire region is a geological marvel. What you're looking at is Ross Island, a landmass born of fire and ice. It's dominated by 4 massive volcanoes, the most famous of which is the mighty Mount Erebus, an active volcano that constantly breathes vapor into the frozen air. You can see its caldera right there. This island sits at the edge of the Ross Ice Shelf, the largest body of ice on Earth, and is separated from the mainland by McMurdo Sound itself. And nestled right here on the southern tip of Ross Island is the largest human settlement on the entire continent, McMurdo Station. Operated by the United States, it's less of a town and more of a frontier science city. During the summer, its population can swell to over 1,000 people, scientists, pilots, engineers, and support staff, all dedicated to the pursuit of knowledge. You can see the cluster of over 85 buildings, including the prominent Albert P. Creary Science and Engineering Center. Just over the hill is New Zealand Scott Base, a smaller but equally vital research station. These aren't permanent homes, they are temporary communities, hubs of international cooperation, where people endure extreme conditions to study everything from climate change and marine biology to astrophysics, and in this remote outpost of humanity, you can even find the Chapel of the Snows. It's the second most southerly religious building in the world, serving as a community center and a place of solace for people of all faiths living at the very edge of the world. This human footprint, though small, is a testament to our relentless curiosity, existing right alongside the ancient paths of the continent's true inhabitants. But look closer at the mainland, the Transantarctic Mountains. This colossal mountain range, one of the longest on the planet, acts as a gigantic wall, dividing East and West Antarctica. What's truly incredible is that this area is also part of a massive rift system, the West Antarctic Rift. The Earth's crust is literally being pulled apart here, creating deep valleys and the volcanic activity that formed Ross Island. So, when our penguin walks here, it's not just walking on ice. It's walking on a dynamic, living landscape, a battleground of tectonic forces, volcanic fire, and glacial ice. This is the world it knows, and it's in this complex environment that its journey unfolds. Using Geographic Information System software, I mapped out the key locations. Here is the Ross Sea, the penguin's primary feeding ground, rich with krill and fish. Moving towards right inside Rig Valley, that's where are another key habitual area of penguins. And over here, nestled in the mountains, is the main penguin colony, a bustling city of thousands. The distance between them is a staggering 100 kilometers. Every year, these incredible birds make this arduous trek. Now, why here? Why establish a colony so far inland? It's a brilliant strategy of survival. These penguins choose their nesting sites in the dry valleys and rocky outcrops of this mountain range. The dark rocks absorb the faint Antarctic sun, creating a slightly warmer microclimate. This helps to incubate their eggs and offers the chicks some protection from the continent's brutal, freezing winds. It's a city built in a rift, a sanctuary carved from stone and ice. And that 100-kilometer distance? For us, it's a long drive. For a penguin, it's an ultramarathon. They can't fly, they must waddle and toboggan on their bellies across a vast expanse of sea ice and glacial plains. This journey can take weeks. It is a testament to their incredible endurance and unwavering instinct. To them, this immense distance is not an obstacle, it is simply the path home. It is a pilgrimage they are born to make. So when we see a penguin on this ice, we are not just seeing a bird, we are seeing one of the toughest endurance athletes on the planet, driven by a primal need to feed, breed, and survive. But this is where geospatial analysis changes everything. When you look at a landscape through the eyes of a geoscientist, you see more than just ice and rock. You see patterns, pathways, and logic that aren't immediately obvious. I began by digitally tracing these penguin trails, which are etched into the ice year after year. Think of them as ancient roads, worn into the landscape by generations of travelers. What my analysis revealed is that this is not a random detour. This is a junction. The path to the left is not an error, it is a known, established, secondary trail. It's a branch line, a different road leading to a different destination. We can see the faint but clear markings of this trail continuing for another 10 kilometers, leading directly to the base of this specific mountain range. Why would such a trail exist? Penguin colonies are not always a single, massive entity. They often have satellite nesting sites or specialized zones. This trail could lead to a smaller, less dense nesting area, perhaps one with less competition for space. It could be a path to a different kind of shelter, away from the main hustle and bustle. Or something else, but I know the true reason why the peculiar penguin tracked off the trail and moved towards the mountain. Furthermore, after working on the buffering analysis, the penguin wasn't a lone, confused individual. This was a penguin that made a deliberate choice at a known junction. It knew exactly where it was going. So, the question we should be asking is not, why did the penguin get lost, but rather, what was at the end of this other trail? This wasn't a march into oblivion. It was a journey with a purpose. The tragedy was not that the penguin was lost, but that we, the observers, misunderstood its map. This isn't a sign of confusion, it's a profound sign of determination. To find the real story, I went back to the source, analyzing satellite imagery and cross-referencing it with the timeline of the documentary. We see here a common sight, a small group of Adelie penguins, 6 of them, returning from a long foraging trip in the Ross Sea. They are on the final leg of their 100-kilometer journey home to the colony. They walk with a familiar rhythm, a march of survival. But as they get closer, the group dynamics begin to change. Watch closely. The last pair starts to lag behind. They are slower, their pace is labored. It's clear one of them is struggling. This penguin is weak, likely having had an unsuccessful hunt at sea. It's starving, and it doesn't have the energy reserves to complete the journey and endure the fasting period required to tend to its nest. And then, something remarkable happens. Right here, at this spot, the struggling penguin makes a difficult choice. It cannot continue. It takes a U-turn, breaking away from its partner to head back towards the sea, back towards the only source of food. It's a desperate, last-ditch effort to survive. But its partner does not continue on to the colony. It does not follow the others. At this moment of separation, it is faced with an impossible choice: follow its mate back to the sea, or continue to the nest alone. It does neither. Instead, it turns left. It takes the other path. The path towards the mountains. This is the penguin from Herzog's film. Suddenly, everything clicks into place. This was never about being lost. This was about love and a desperate, incredible hope. I believe this penguin knew its partner was too weak to survive the long journey back to the open sea. But through my analysis of recent satellite imagery, I found a clue, a potential reason for this mysterious path. A reason that gives this story a profound new meaning. This penguin was not disoriented. It was determined. It was focused. It was on a mission, driven by a bond we are only just beginning to comprehend. It was heading to the mountains for a very specific reason, a reason that could save its partner. And in our next video, I will show you exactly what that reason is. So, how can we be so sure? How can we pinpoint the exact location of a single penguin from a documentary filmed over a decade ago in the vastness of Antarctica? The answer lies in a powerful geoscience technique, viewshed analysis and landscape fingerprinting. Antarctica may seem uniform, but it's not. Every mountain, every peak, every valley creates a unique signature, a one-of-a-kind horizon line. This skyline is like a fingerprint. If you can match it, you can find the exact spot where the camera was standing. My first step was to isolate the key features in the original footage. I began by tracing the distinct silhouette of the background mountains. You can see them here, highlighted in yellow and green. I paid close attention to the specific shapes, the sharp peak over here, the gentle slope of this one, and most importantly, the prominent U-shaped valley right here. This U shape is a classic signature of a glacial valley. It's a valley that was carved not by a river, but by a massive glacier grinding its way through the rock over millennia. This specific shape became my primary search parameter. Next, I moved to a 3D digital elevation model of the entire Ross Island and Transantarctic Mountains region. This is where the real detective work began. I started to virtually fly through the landscape, trying to find a location where the 3D model of the mountains would match the fingerprint from the documentary. I was looking for that exact combination, the sharp peak, the gentle slope, and the U-shaped glacial valley, all in the correct alignment. For days, I scoured the digital landscape. I could rule out dozens of locations because the peaks wouldn't line up, or the valley was obscured. And then, I found it. From this precise coordinate on the ice shelf, looking east towards the mountains, the digital skyline snapped perfectly into place. It was an exact match. The fingerprint fit. I had found the exact location where the filmmaker stood. Once I had this anchor point, everything else became clear. I could now, with high accuracy, map the penguin trails visible in the footage onto the real-world landscape. I could calculate the distances. I could identify the junction where the trail splits. And I could confirm, without a doubt, that the path our penguin took was not a random wandering into nothingness. It was a clear, defined trail leading directly towards the foothills of this specific mountain range. This is the power of geospatial science. It allows us to peel back the layers of a landscape, to find order in what seems like chaos, and to uncover the hidden truths written in the geography of our planet. The mountains themselves told me where to look, and in doing so, they helped us rewrite the story of this incredibly determined penguin. They are not lost. They are navigating a world that we are breaking. Protect the determined. Thank you for watching all 13.3 minutes of this deep dive. I know that's a real commitment, and I'm so grateful to have you as part of this channel community of curious minds. Have a question about this analysis, or an idea for a future one? I'm always available. Connect with me anytime. Let's keep exploring together.